and I'll be making the videos offline. But today we are actually going to jump into some content creation. So I'm very excited to actually get into that. There are a couple of things that I want to go over and take care of first before we jump into that. But as of right now, I'm really excited. I'm sorry about the videos. If you have any questions about those, you can leave me a comment and I'll respond to you there. But let's jump in and get started. Okay, so you should be seeing my screen now. It's our planning document again, and I went ahead and outlined just some of the things that we're going to be doing in the first module. And this is very rough, but I wanted to have some things down here so I could go ahead and talk to you about those, and so that you can kind of see my brainstorming process. Again, rough draft, but we're going to work through it. So as I mentioned in one of the earlier videos, we follow the LAPU model, and that is the process of learn, apply, practice, and utilize. So the students will go through those steps for every module. And again, just a reminder, the first module is Introduction to Total Rewards and Your Strategy. So it's not only talking about what total rewards can mean, what that looks like, and what that includes, but how to actually build out a strategy that's connected to organizational goals and what that means for the HR person and the company as a whole. So we are covering a lot of things in this section, and it's our job as instructional designers to consider the student experience and make sure that they're getting everything that they need to feel confident in this area and to really understand, because this is kind of the foundation for the rest of the course and moving forward with other topics. So first off, in the Learn section, we have the intro video, What is Total Rewards? And I've gone ahead and recorded that already, so you can watch me put it into the course in a moment here. Second, we have a Nobly gallery about total rewards types and employee and employer contributions. So we're actually going to make that today. Nobly is a program that basically helps you make widgets and all those types of things. We're going to jump into it, and I'll give you a little bit of a, maybe not a preview, but I'll show you how I use it for the purposes of definitely check it out. I think it's a great product. There are lots of other products that are similar, so I guess use what you can. Next here, we have a total rewards objectives tab, a policy choices tab or accordion, and then a types of pay accordion. Those are all different types of widgets, and I have all of the content in presentations at this point. So what we're going to do is I'll walk you through setting up Nobly and these different types of widgets, and I'll also pull up the content so you can see where I'm getting the content from as well. Okay, so that rounds out our Learn section. The next section is the Apply section, and that's where we're going to talk about linking the total rewards and benefit strategy to the overall business strategy. And we're also going to look at a Continental Airlines case study. And this case study is a part of the content that we have for this course. We're going to kind of read through it and see how we could make this into a really cool experience for students, just so that they have something to interact with a little bit more, because this is a little bit, it's kind of heavy content. Third, there is a discussion forum that I want to write out. So a maxim or ethical principle regarding total rewards is this following quote here. My thoughts here is we can present this to the student and then ask them to analyze it and then form their own maxim from that. So that should hopefully be fun for students. And lastly, here we have the competitive analysis discussion board. A lot of, I guess one perspective from HR about rewards is that rewards can actually help you as a company become more competitive, because if you offer more rewards, which again, that can include salary, that can include paid time off, benefits such as retirement or healthcare or all of those types of things, cash and non-cash benefits, basically. And then also more, I guess, rewards that would matter to an employee. So that could be flexible work location, flexible schedule, flexible dress code, all those types of things. That kind of all packages into this total reward system that you're going to want to offer your employees. And that overall leads to more competitiveness, because depending on what the employee really finds or really identifies with or is a specific need for the employee, that will determine not only which company they work for, but once they're at the company, how productive and how much effort they put into their work as well. So that's where we are going to talk a little bit about how the total reward strategy really does affect the overall organization's success and productiveness and strategy as well. All right. So again, in that utilize section, we're going to do a little bit of a competitive analysis and ask the student to analyze their own work experience if they have work experience, or they can choose a company to look at if they want to analyze some reward programs that are out there. So that is the basic gist of what we're going to do in this module. Again, we're going to write out all of this content and put it into the Moodle course. And I'm also going to walk you through how I make some of the widgets in Nobly as well. So what we're going to do right now is I am going to open this Nobly course for you so you can kind of see what it looks like here. Let me back up for a second. So this is just the basic course. When you make a course in Nobly, and that's how I organize my widgets, I build out the course, and then I add lessons over here. And the lessons are really the modules. Or the modules in our planning document. So from that perspective, I build out all of the widgets in their respective modules. It helps me keep it a little bit more organized. And in that way, I'm also able to see if there's too much overlap or if I am missing something or if there's a gap as well. So hopefully you'll be able to see that as we get started here. So first, I'm actually going to go through and set up this Nobly course just a little bit so it'll help us stay organized. So like I said, I'm just going to be adding lessons, and there are 5 lessons in this class. So I'm going to add 4 more, and I'm just going to stick the names in there so then I don't get confused either. How are you guys today? I know all of this may be a lot of information, but I hope that it is helpful and that you're doing well and that you're getting something from my process as well. All right, so now that we got those titles in there, I'm going to go back out here, and the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select our theme, and we use a specific theme for all of our professional development courses. It has our brand colors and all of that. So that is applied here to all of my pages. As you can see, if I go to the different lessons, it will also be applied. Just that'll help us use our colors and make sure that we're seamless throughout. The other thing too, the cool thing about Nobly is if you build everything in a course, you can actually export the course or have it accessible through the internet for students or whoever to complete as well. They also do SCORM files and some different plugins. So kind of a cool product, but anywho, okay. So now we're going to jump into our blocks, and it looks like I said, I already did the intro video, so we'll go ahead and put that in as soon as we get into course building. Next is Nobly Gallery about total rewards types and employee/employer contributions. So I am going to go to my PowerPoint here, and here we have a little slide about employee contributions. This slide has a little graphic about total rewards strategy and total rewards for work. So I'm just going to make sure that I have all of this correct here. So it looks like we're going to be working with slides 5 through 8. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to copy over these texts, the bits of text, and then the gallery option is somewhat like a PowerPoint where you can add text and a graphic next to it. So I'll copy over these texts, and then I'm going to probably go ahead and just add these to it. As you can see, this, I guess, table kind of outlines what I was saying before, how total rewards really does include cash and non-cash types of rewards and just things that are really important to the employee. So that really does make a difference in whether or not an employee decides to work from you. Or for you, employee and employer contributions. Oopsie, helps if I can spell that correctly. Okay, so this is one of our widgets here. I'm gonna go ahead and type that again. I have not made a professional development course in quite a while, so this will be an interesting experience for both of us because I haven't been in Nobly for a little bit. But as I mentioned, so here's the title, and we're going to add an introduction here. Employees and employers both contribute to the organization's overall goals. So we have here the employees contribute. My goodness, I cannot spell. The employees contribute work-related accomplishments. Contribute, we'll say equivalent rewards. It is our hope that employers do contribute equivalent rewards. And what that means is compensation in all of those non-cash and cash ways that are equivalent to the work that the employee does. Of course, that doesn't always happen, but it is our goal it is the hope that organizations are able to do that equivalent rewards. Okay, let's just leave it at that for now. So what I'll do here is I'll copy this employee contributions and I'll copy these down here, these little bullet points, and add those there. We're going to bold that, and then we're going to add bullet points here. That does not always work. That is the one complaint I have, Nobly, if you're listening. But something that I also tend to do here is I will add the number of slides. So we're probably just going to have these 2 slides here at least, unless something else comes up. And total rewards for work. Okay. It looks like we don't actually have a slide for employer contributions. So we are going to add this graphic, and then we are going to write our own content for this. So what I'm doing here is I am just I'm using the snipping tool to, oh man, hold on a second. How to do that again. Sorry about that. We're using the snipping tool to cut this graphic out because it is not going to let me save it directly from this document. Okay, so this is going to be rewards or work rate. And this is going to be kind of the one that we're going to link up with the employee contributions because it goes over how it kind of connects to employee satisfaction and overall just achievement for the organization. It really is important to really link both of these goals together and kind of figure out how the total reward strategy aligns with the overall organizational strategy, making sure that you have the right people in the right place at the right time to meet those goals, but also making sure that the employees well taken care of and motivated and that they actually feel happy with the compensation that they're getting. So again, it all goes hand in hand. And I'm sure that there is an expert out there that can explain it a little bit better than I can. So what I'm going to do here is this is the caption. Again, it kind of functions a little bit similar to a PowerPoint. I'm going to go ahead and select the media here that I want. I'm going to go to where my snip is. And once that uploads, it'll automatically add it into that gallery location there. Great. And this one here, I'm going to go ahead and add total reward strategies. Great. So here we're going to say employee or contributions. Okay. And I'm going to bold that and add in a list there. So employers will cash and non-cash rewards, contribute cash and non-cash rewards, safe workplace, and a comprehensive total rewards strategy. Okay, perfect. Here we go. So this will probably round out our gallery. Usually they're a little bit longer, but this one, the topic I really wanted to hit, but it kind of needs to be separate from the other topics that we're planning on hitting. So it is a little bit, I know it's not very long. Don't worry. We are going to make some really great things. So when it's all done, it looks like this, and the student will be able to engage with it as they go through Moodle. We're going to embed this into the Moodle page, which will be fun. I'll show you exactly how I'm going to do that. But first off, before we do that, we're going to make a few more widgets. So let's go back here to our planning document. So we got these first 2 here. We need the objectives tab, the policy choices tab or accordion, and types of pay accordion. So let's look here again and see. Forms of pay. So we have these 4 things here that incorporate the forms of pay. And then we also have here our total rewards objective. So we have the pay model here as well. So we probably do want to go through that before we jump into some of these other things. We got the objectives here, these 2 slides, and then the policy choices here. So I'm thinking we could let's reorder this to make it a little bit more intuitive for ourselves. So we're going to do our types of pay here, and then we are going to talk about, what was this called? The pay model. Or you know what? Maybe we should add this to, you know what? I'm thinking, let's add this to this gallery, the pay model here. Okay, so this is actually going to be 4 slides. That's fun. Okay, 3 out of 4. The pay model, and 3 basic building blocks of the pay model. So we're just going to go ahead and copy and paste that there. We got our bullet points, and then, okay, there we go. So now it's formatted correctly. And we're going to go ahead and do fourth slide here. And we're just going to say the pay model includes, actually, let's work smarter, not harder, right? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just copy and snip this page again and upload this pay model to be the graphic for our pay model slide. So let me go ahead and save that. See, this is why the rough draft really helps, because it like gets your juices flowing, and then as you go through, you kind of double check yourself and just make sure that you did cover everything. There aren't gaps, you didn't forget anything, all those things. So can't tell you how many times I've done that and how many times it's helped catch things. Okay, so next we do just have hold on 1 second. I don't like that. Okay, perfect. So now we do just have this, what is it? Types of pay accordion. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the widget again and make an accordion widget types of, perfect, add. And then we are going to go here to forms of pay again. Okay, so we got benefits and cash and total rewards or transactional rewards as well. So I think what we'll do is I'll make these 2 widgets because I don't want the live stream to be like extremely long for all of you to sit through. So we will make these 2 widgets, and then I'll show you how I put them into Moodle, and you can see all of that as well. Okay, so we got here base wages, and these generally include this types of things. One other cool thing that Nobly has, and I will definitely be using it, especially if it's in a gallery or something like that where I need graphics. Oopsie, it's not. Okay. I'll definitely be using it somewhere where I need graphics. Is Nobly has a lot of stock images that you can just easily put in. Oh, it is a little bit buggy, I will say that. I don't want this very common here. Oh, look, it wants us to put in periods. Go ahead and do that. Okay, great. And then we got incentives and variable pay, which I'm just going to retype that thing, add the periods here. And then those bullet points, very nice. And last one here are benefits. So I'm going to go ahead and copy these over. I'm going to delete this benefits because we don't need to. So income protection, move that. Work life. Okay, perfect. So now we have this whole thing here. And one other thing I'm going to note is I don't always put an introduction in. It does tend to make the widget bigger. So for something like this, I don't think I would put in an introduction just because it's pretty self-explanatory that it's the different types of, but you know, do as you wish. So we have our 2 widgets here. This is what this accordion will look like, and the student will be able to click through it and kind of just look at that information at their leisure as they're going through the Learn section. We do have a couple more widgets here that need to be built, but for the purposes of this, I don't want it to be too long. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump into our page here. So we have just a page in Moodle. It's going to go into the first module, and the title is Learn Introduction to Total Rewards. And let's say, and actually there wasn't anything from strategy in this one yet, so we'll leave it at that. Typically what I do is I'll add a heading and I'll say review here, and then I'll write a little blurb, definitely fit this to your needs, but something along the lines of review the resources below to the role of human resources. Is that, well, I spelled that wrong. So the reward strategy development. Okay. So then I don't like that. Okay. To learn more about total reward systems, you will also learn more about, and you know what? This would be a perfect time to use AI to write these little review introduction statements for me. So maybe we'll try that for another module. But anyway, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to come over here to, oh, actually, hold on. What we're first going to do is insert our video. So we do have this little shortcut for inserting a video. And what we're going to do is we're going to add the video ID. And what that is the little after the youtube.com/ watch. It's the numbers that are unique to your video. So we're going to add that there. I'm going to copy the video title. It's what is total rewards, and I'm going to add the time. And that is another kind of accessibility item there to add the time, but it is just helpful for students to know how long it's going to take them to watch or do, or whatever it is that you're asking them to do. We typically do it for our YouTube videos, but anyway, as you can see, the YouTube video was added. And so what I'm going to do here is, that looks great. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in my, what are these, widgets. So what we're going to do here is first click sync in Nobly. You have to sync it anytime that you make an edit. And I always just kind of do it the last time I edit it before I embed it anywhere, just to make sure it is completely up to date. And on this one specifically, we did add this slide to the end. So I just want to make sure that that is also included in our sync here. So I'm going to go ahead and click publish, but it's going to give me a little notice that I have to wait. A little impatient here. Okay, so copy, embed, and then what I do is I uncheck those, because if you add a title or an intro, you'll want to uncheck those so that they show up. So we have that, and I just go ahead and copy it. Then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add it under this break that's in the page already for me, and then I'm going to paste it in. Here is the tricky part. So in Moodle, when it loads, let me make this full screen for just a second. So when you embed from Nobly, you're going to want to just double check that it is the right size. And it isn't loading right now. That could just be because I'm streaming and maybe I'm overloading it a little bit. I'm not sure. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and just add our second one here and then see if it loads. But what I was going to say is, in Moodle, when you copy over the Nobly widgets, it's good practice to, after you've embedded the code, to go back and look at it and make sure it fits. Because the thing with Nobly, or I'm sure other widgets too, anything else you're embedding, you might get one of those crazy scroll bars if it's not the right size for the page and it doesn't auto adjust. And you don't want multiple scroll bars on a page where students are going to have to scroll on your widget to see everything. So we might need to adjust the size a little bit if that is the case. But unfortunately, since it is not loading for me now, we might just have to save the page and then dive back into the code if it is cut off or anything like that. So just a second until this Nobly widget loads. This one I'm just going to uncheck hide the title, because we didn't add a introduction to this. See what I mean? This scroll bar here might show up on our page if we don't double check that it is the right size. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click save and display. I'm going to push that down and make this a little bit bigger for us. Okay, so as you can see, this accordion widget is fine. It doesn't have a second scroll bar, but the gallery widget does. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to click settings and try to adjust that again. It looks like my page breaks didn't show up, but it might just be because I'm in edit mode. So we will just have to check that after. So what I'm going to do here is this. So we do have our two widgets here. The second one, the accordion, is that one. So I'm just going to leave it alone. The first one is here. And typically what we do is I will make this a little bit bigger. I'm just going to boost it up to 10,000 just because, well, I've had some experience with these and, I think it's going to be about that big. It looks like we lost the scroll bar, but it looks a little bit too big actually. So I'm going to do 970 there and see if that works. Because the other thing is, you see how there's this like big box right here of white? It's a little bit unclear. Well, I guess that one is a little bit longer. It's a little unclear where the first widget starts and then or stops and the next one starts. So we just want to be careful that we don't have too much white space on the page too. That definitely is something else to think about. That didn't really look like it made a difference, but I don't want to make it too small, because if you make it too small, guess what? The scroll bar will appear again. So it is kind of just finding that sweet spot of the perfect size, not too big, not too small, and no scroll bar. Okay, I think I'm just going to leave it there at 900. That looks pretty good. And on this one, it is a little bit, see, look at, I don't know if you guys can see that. Hold on. So at this level, the last slide actually does have the scroll bar come back. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push it back to 930 where it was. and that should be good. Let's double check before we click save. Okay, we might have passed the sweet spot actually when it was at 950. Let's see. Yep, that looks perfect. 950. Okay. So here we go. We got our video in there and 2 of our widgets. I'll work on the other widgets offline. Again, don't want this to be too long and too boring, hopefully, but we do have looks like we have a scroll bar there, but you know what? I don't want to make it quite that long. I think that would be too much white space at the end. So I'm just going to leave that one. But anyway, all right. I think that's good for today. If you do have any questions about anything I did, though, feel free. Just leave a comment and I'll get back to you there or address it in the next video. Thank you for joining in. I hope that this was helpful and I hope that you can see like the methods to my madness in this process. But thank you for joining again with our live stream here. Again, I'm Kenna and I'm an instructional designer, and this is what learning feels like. Thanks, and I hope